So without further delay, I'd like to start things off with Mr. Kobe Wright from the Capital Improvement Board.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Ava. I'm going to get right started, I think. There we go. The Capital Improvement Board of Managers of Marion County is a statutory entity, meaning it's a municipal corporation of the city of Indianapolis and Marion County, created by state statute. We are a 9-person volunteer board with 5 mayoral appointees, 1 city county council appointee, and 2 gubernatorial appointees. That came about in 2017, and then 1 appointee of one of the jurisdictions that has adopted some of the taxes that go to our organization as a result of the last expansion of the convention center, and most notably the construction of Lucas Oil Stadium. And that effectively is someone from the Hamilton County, who is the head of the Hamilton County Tourism Board. Right there is a list of the people who are involved in developing and implementing our capital improvement plan for the CIB. At the top, you have Andy Mallon, who is our executive director as of the past 3 years. In the event any of you have been living under a rock in the past 7 years, Andy Mallon, I like to gloat on my boss for a second. Andy Mallon is the person who spearheaded and led the design, development, funding, construction of what can easily be called the biggest public works project by the city of Indianapolis in 4 decades. And that's the construction of the Community Justice Center, our campus, which is still ongoing. The main parts are done, but it's evolving as we speak. And he's now the head of our organization, as he should be. Then you have Tom Boyle. Tom Boyle, if you've seen anything south that's part of the skyline south of Washington Street, other than the JW Marriott, that's Tom Boyle. Tom Boyle's been with the CIB for over 25 years. He's, in my opinion, he's built some of the economic center of our city. Bobby Green, who works for me and who is here right there in a red sweater, my apologies to her, working for her for 5.5 years, and I can't spell her last name correctly. That Bobby Green is Bobby Green as in the color, not with an E. I don't know what I'm doing. I think that's because I was on a cruise ship for 11 days as of 2 days ago, and I'm just recovering. You have myself, and you might wonder, why am I the person who's standing here before the on behalf of the CIB to talk about the capital projects? It is most assuredly not because I'm the brother from the CIB, never, not in my lifetime. It is because, like a true sucker, 2 years ago, or at the beginning of 2021, upon seeing our MBE, WBE, our XBE numbers, period, for a number of reasons, probably due to COVID and just because it wasn't our focus, they were abysmal. And leadership, meaning President Melina Kennedy and Andy Mallon and myself, thought we can't possibly go in front of Councilor Gray and the Municipal Corporations Committee and report these kind of numbers on a regular basis, not to mention morally this is not okay. And the CIB hadn't typically been at those low numbers, but we knew that we had to do something to put the organization on a path where it's a concerted focus of somebody in the entity to keep those numbers where they need to be. And so, like a true sucker, I said, hey, we got this problem. We need a diversity, equity, and inclusion officer at the executive level. And I knew the minute I said it, here is the way that I'm going to help us solve that problem, by becoming that person. So while it's not in my title, that's my third job. So that is why I'm here. And then we have Jimmy Beard, who is our consultant, who is spearheading our way to making our XBE program a constant and an ever, as well as evolving with the times. Here are the projects. As I mentioned, I didn't mention it before, but it was up there. The CIB either owns or operates the Convention Center, Lucas Oil Stadium, 2 garages, one called the Hutnut Commons Garage, which is right in front of the Westin, underneath what is in front of the Westin, and the Virginia Avenue Garage, which you all will probably think of as the Cambridge Fieldhouse Garage. And then, of course, we own Cambridge Fieldhouse itself and the Convention Center. So the Pacers, for the most part, operate Cambridge Fieldhouse. We actually procure the capital projects. I don't think I have a list of any that are on, well, we don't have any going on there today because Bobby spends most of her life, her second job, renovating Cambridge Fieldhouse in what is nothing less than a $350 million project that's taken 3 years of her life. But the other buildings, the Convention Center, Lucas Oil Stadium, and the parking garages, I'll go through briefly what those projects are. You see at the top, the Sagamore Ballroom, which is on the second floor of the Convention Center. It's an LED lighting upgrade project, $600,000. That's likely to go to bid on the beginning of next year. Number 2, we have the elevator and escalator upgrades in the same building at a cost of $500,000. Those are likely to go to bid in April and May of next year. Access control project, that's $500,000, and that's adding electric and illuminating key access to the meeting rooms and exhibit halls of the Convention Center. To me, I think it's an exciting project just because it's showing that we're evolving into a more interactive way with a building that has been around since 1972. Sammy Davis Jr. opened the Convention Center. I love that fact. That project is to go to bid on April to May of 2023. The 4th project in the Convention Center for next year is digital signage. Also, I think a pretty cool project. It's $325,000, and that's, again, the evolution of Sammy Davis Jr.'s building into the 21st century, putting LED displays outside of the meeting rooms and exhibit halls so you know what's actually in there. Right now, it's a vanilla wall. You don't know what's going on or where you're going. The last one is a setup office remodel of $175,000. That involves designing and carpet and furniture and other items, and that's likely to go to bid in June of 2023. Next, we have the parking garages. Both parking garages that I mentioned have scheduled $1.5 million capital projects for concrete repairs, and as you see, those are both scheduled to go to bid in January or February of next year. Then we have the capital projects of the home of the Indianapolis Colts. God help our Colts. I love them. I love them. They're killing me. Access control and digital signage projects. The first one is for $200,000. The second one is for $30,000. The access control, and Bobby can speak to it more if you wind up wanting to know more about these projects after lunch or whenever Ava had mentioned we were going to have a chance to speak more about the projects. But as I understand it, the access control project and the digital signage project of the Convention Center and Lucas Oil Stadium, Tom wants those bid together. so he doesn't have to parse, which makes sense. He wants uniformity, so he wants to have, I would think, just one contractor that's providing that service. So that's something you can learn more about later. And then we have I'm sorry, I forgot to mention our minor league baseball stadium, our baseball field. The Capital Improvement Board owns that building. It sits on state land. It actually sits it's a part of White River State Park. And the Indians are responsible for some operational matters, and we are responsible for pretty much all of the capital improvement matters. So to that extent, there's a roof replacement project for a few roofs at $300,000 that will go to bid in April to May of 2023. And then there are some other miscellaneous repairs that Tom has grouped together as a $250,000 project, and that will go to bid sometime in 2023, and that's still to be determined. The last project that I will mention, which I was not aware of as I looked at my phone, which looked new enough to me, but apparently it's not quite as new as it should be, because apparently we're going to go to bid potentially in June of next year on a PBX replacement of $2.5 million for the Convention Center and Lucas Oil Stadium. So that's effectively the communication system for the entire corporation. Lastly, while I am done with this presentation, I want to add in my 2 cents on working from home or working remotely or working in person. I'm clearly not a young person anymore. I still refer to Bart Peterson as Mayor Peterson because that's the mayor I used to work for. So that's how far back I go. The Convention Center obviously is a business that wants people to do exactly what we're doing right now, because that's how we exist. And that's being present with each other to make business work. Having said that, my department, the Business Operations Department at the Capital Improvement Board of Managers, has a hybrid work schedule. Bobby's a perfect example. She can work from home or wherever, as long as it's not Aruba, 2 days a week, and the other 3 days in the office, because in my view, the soft services of business administration doesn't require somebody to be in front of you to do it. And that saves her a lot of gas and a lot of time. And as also human resources of the Capital Improvement Board reports to me as well. And for those who are not involved in human resources, I can tell you from having done interviews lately, in this current job market, you're not going to get somebody who has to work in the office 5 days a week. You're not going to get the best talent, because that's the first question out of their mouth: can I work remotely? So I think that's here to stay, even at a business where we want you to come into town and co-locate in the building in order to do business. So that's my 2 cents, or my 1 cent, and with that, I'm done. Thanks, Ava.
Thank you, Kobe. Next up, we have Aaron Schounts. Did I say that right, Aaron? With the Department of Metropolitan Development.
Go. Hello, everyone. I'm Erin Schounts, and I'm the Chief Policy Officer with the Department of Metropolitan Development. I also serve the Department of Business and Neighborhood Services for the City of Indianapolis, but today I'm representing DMD. And there, I just want to draw attention, you can see my email address there. Feel free to write that down. So if there's anything you hear about today that you're interested in, please feel free to send me an email. So DMD is responsible for really a wide array of activities that are going on around the city of Indianapolis. Rusty Carr is our interim director right now, but his regular day job is our Deputy Director of Strategy and Collaboration. And I'm here representing him today because he is overseeing a meeting of the Metropolitan Development Commission, which is the redevelopment authority for the entire city-county. His team includes Jenny Foltz, who oversees community investments. We'll talk a little bit about her team and ways that you may get involved there. We have Rodney Stockman, who oversees our homelessness policy. We also have Iris Dillon, who oversees our public spaces and legacy properties like Union Station. As an example, DMD owns several legacy properties like the Indiana Repertory Theater, Union Station, and others. Piers Kirby oversees real estate and brownfield redevelopment. So DMD also has several real estate holdings around the county, including some large brownfield redevelopment sites. And then Emily Scott oversees economic development. And so that includes things like tax abatement and some small business support and things like that, including a small business loan pool, the Grow Indianapolis Fund. So if that's something that you may be interested in to grow your business, Emily's the person to reach out to, but I can get you connected with her. We also have Lorenzo G. Play, who's our Deputy Director of Planning, Preservation, and Design. And so his team includes our Indianapolis Historic Preservation Commission, led by Meg Pernsley, current planning, which includes things like zoning and land use cases. So if you need a variance or something like that for your business, that is the team that you would go to. Carmen Lethic, who oversees our long-range planning team. We'll talk a little bit about some of our long-range planning efforts in just a moment. Austin Gibble, who oversees transportation planning and is a partnership with the Department of Public Works, and then Kate Warpool, who's our city architect. And then the rest of the team includes people like me who serve directly under the director of DMD. So I'm just going to go over very briefly some of the priorities for our department in 2023. This is coming directly from Mayor Hogsett's policy priorities and things that are really important to the administration to accomplish. So this first slide here is around equity and city planning. And so we will be embarking on a cultural equity plan, a zoning equity audit. We will also be doing revisions and an equity audit around Regional Center, which is what you, I would say, most traditionally think of as downtown Indianapolis. And then we did pass legislation around transit-oriented development, and we are adding some additional equity analysis into that work. We also are doing a great deal of work around expanding affordable housing in Indianapolis neighborhoods. So this is a really, really big priority for the department right now and for Mayor Hogsett. And so I'll talk a little bit about some of the ways that that may connect to you and your business. Something that's also really big, I know we've talked about things that are a response or, things that we're learning as we come out of the pandemic. And downtown, I think as many of you in this room know, was particularly impacted by people working from home and a variety of other things. And so we are working on a downtown resiliency strategy to make sure that we can continue to, expand the great work of the Capital Improvement Board and our department and make sure that our downtown continues to be a place that we're all very proud of. So that includes vibrant mixed-use economic development. So some announcements have been made, for example, about the city market and some housing that's going to be planned. And so that's something that we're really excited about, and we will be requiring affordability in that housing. Activating our public spaces in the downtown corridor is also a priority for our department. And then making sure that as we do this economic development activity or community development with housing, that we have connected and safe infrastructure. So an example of a project that we've done in the past where you can kind of see a variety of the different types of services that DMD has to procure So you'll see this West Side Strategic Revitalization and Airport TIF, which stands for Tax Increment Finance Implementation Plan. And so you'll see an architecture team here. You'll see Policy Analytics, which is a consulting firm that does a lot of our TIF district analysis and planning. Green Street, which does economic development and real estate consulting. H&TB Corporation, which is an engineering firm and provided infrastructure and transportation planning. Engaging Solutions, which is a local firm that works with community engagement. And then Metric Environmental. So this was environmental and brownfield assessment. And so this is, you can see here, this is an example of something that came out of that plan and something that we use for future decision making and investment. The former Oak Tree site, which is located on the far east side of Indianapolis, it had been apartment complexes that had been hit really bad by a storm and had been condemned. The city acquired those properties and demolished them and is now in the process of going through a revitalization plan. So we worked extensively with a team led by Meticulous, which is an architecture firm, and they are a local MBE. We also had Shrewsbury as a part of that team, which is, that's a VBE and an MBE. I believe Shrewsbury, we're missing that. And then Engaging Solutions again, which is an MBE, Herd Strategies. And then, so really this team was very, very strong in terms of XVE participation. And it was a really critical plan for that community and thinking about the future of the Oak Tree site, which is about 19 acres, and thinking about what they might like to see there. And next year we'll be doing a request for information to kind of tap the development community to see what they might propose there based on community priorities. So this is something that I can tell you a little bit about in terms of the types of investment opportunities that DMD has. So on an annual basis, we receive approximately $15.6 million from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. And I'll talk to you a little bit about community investments in just a moment. CV funding is actually additional infusion from HUD that we received under the CARES Act. So that was in 2020, and that was $20.4 million. And then we received, the department itself was allocated $55.92 million in the city's general allocation of funding from the American Rescue Plan Act. And we are deploying those funds currently, and we'll continue to be deploying those funds over the next couple of years. We also received an additional $15 million in home, ARPA, the American Rescue Plan Act, and home is what we use for affordable housing. And so we're also working on deploying those. So this slide you probably can't see very well, but I'll just kind of tell you about the types of things. So our community investments team, which is where a lot of that HUD funding is dedicated, they work on things like new construction of single-family homes, owner-occupied repair, rehab of existing vacant units, and then additional new construction. We're using a lot of our funding also on multifamily construction, and we've used it to make repairs or improvements to exterior commercial facades. And we've also partnered with Indy Parks to do park improvements at Kelly Park and Willard Park in the past. So there's really a wide variety of ways that we use those community investment funds, but a lot of it is in construction, and it can be on a small scale. So some upcoming DMD procurement opportunities that you'll want to keep an eye out for is our neighborhood certified planning. We're going to have ongoing project and construction management. So this is kind of on an as-needed basis for different projects that we have. The same goes for community engagement services. And then surveying of legacy Black and Brown communities is something that's a part of our equity audit work. And then public space infrastructure, so there will be some construction projects associated with maintenance and improvements in our public spaces. Historic property management services, so that again is related to our legacy properties that I mentioned earlier, and so we'll be doing a bid for property management services. And then we will be doing additional single family affordable housing, and that would be in Q1. and then additional construction of housing, affordable housing, and so that could be a combination of single-family and multifamily. And then we'll be doing a bid for infrastructure on the Near East Side on East 10th Street. And so that'll be a partnership with the Department of Public Works to do some construction on 10th Street. And so where can you find these opportunities? A great place to go is, the City of Indianapolis's bid or procurement website through the Office of Finance and Management. But we're also on social media, so you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So we're on all 4 platforms. So that's a great place. We usually post there. You can also go to the city website and go to the DMD page. We post there as well, but this is probably the best place to find, where you'll have all of the bid documents and everything that you might need, but you can certainly find us through social media and follow us there. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin. Our next presenter with the Department of Parks and Recreation, Director Phyllis Boyd.
Good morning. I'm a paper person. I'm Phyllis Boyd, Director of Indy Parks, and it's really a pleasure to be with you today. Before I start to highlight our upcoming projects, I wanted to just share a little bit with you about Indy Parks. How many of you knew we had 214 parks? Show of hands. Did you really know that? No, you didn't? Okay. You knew. Ava, you know everything. So, Indy Parks has a lot to offer: pools, sports fields, dog parks, nature centers, recreation trails, and we provide more than 300,000 free meals a year and over 2,000 programs. Like Raphael said, the magic happens in person, so we really feel like the role we play in the life of the city is extremely important, and I encourage you to visit our parks and explore them. You can find out more about us at parks.indy.gov, but also on all the social media platforms. Our entire staff really takes pride in creating places and spaces that inspire. Everything we do at Indy Parks is grounded in our mission, our vision, and our racial equity statement. Using these statements as our foundation, we acknowledge that we are committed to being a leader in health and recreation, in providing equal opportunities and access to our parks, and that is a part of our commitment to engaging XBE talent in our city. In 2023, we're going to be embarking on over $40 million worth of improvements in our parks, and today I'm just going to cover what we're going to be bidding in the first quarter. So one of our big projects is going to be the West Montgomery basketball pavilion and courts, and this is going to be 2 full basketball courts and 2 half courts under a covered pavilion. The trades that will be involved will be steelwork fabrication, metal roofing, electrical pavement, and striping for the courts. This is an over $1 million project. We're also going to be doing some improvements at Grassy Creek Regional Park on the Far East Side. So this is a part of the Mayor's Circle City Forward bond project that involved 3 other signature parks, 2 of which are underway this year, but Grassy Creek will be bidding next year. There'll be this amazing nature center, about a 12,000 square foot building. We'll have also some site work, so paving, trails, concrete. All the interior trades will be involved in this project. It's about a $7 million project. The other big project in terms of the Circle City Forward that will be bidding next year is the Riverside Adventure Park. The 200-acre park is currently accessible. You can go there now. It's beautiful, but we're going to be making other improvements that help people inhabit the space: comfort stations, signature pavilions, more trails that will be connecting folks. You can actually do a great circuit through there, and then also significant landscape treatment along Cold Spring Road. So we're looking for contractors to cover those trades, and in terms of the landscaping, really a group that can handle large trees and ornamental bed installation. We've started doing community outreach around the funding that we got, $16.5 million, for making playground improvements using ARPA funding. We have hundreds of playgrounds across our system, and those of you that have visited parks know that they're in varying degrees of condition. And so as we are looking to think about how best to deploy these funds, we did use a equity and inclusion lens to think about how to prioritize this. And so the parks that we are making improvements in scored high in terms of race and income and economic demographics in terms of needing the help. So we will have 28 new playgrounds and 26 parks. As they go to bid next year, they're going to be bid in 4 different packages that coincide with the quadrants of the city. And 6 to 7, sometimes 8 playgrounds will be in the same package. In terms of the work involved, it's going to be mostly site development work and landscaping, some sidewalk, concrete work, paving. The actual playground equipment installation, because we're using specialty equipment, will be done by the manufacturers, but there will be plenty of work outside of those playground spaces. And you can find out more about the projects and the parks listed if you go to indyplaygrounds.com. Supposed to go one more, but it's not moving. Oh, there we go. In February, we're going to have an outreach event with the Office of OMWBD at Riverside Park, and that'll be from 4 to 6 p.m. We'll have more information about these projects, but also the other projects that we'll be bidding throughout the year. So please come, please spread the word. Cheryl Richardson will be here from Indy Parks, and she is our Senior Manager of Community Relations. She'll be here for the afternoon event, but also please feel free to reach out to her to get more information. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director Boyd. Next up, Indiana University Health, Akila Darden.
Good morning, everyone. How are you? Excellent. Ooh, that was bad, but okay. Akila Darden, Director of Diversity and Inclusion with IU Health, Design and Construction. We are intentional about equitable. Yay. Okay, so I'm not doing my job because everybody should say that. We are intentional about equitable opportunities for our diverse vendors. I think I should be clicking. Intentional about equitable opportunities for our diverse vendors. Intentional. If you have diverse vendors that are bidding the work for us, make sure it's intentional and they have a seat at the table that's equitable. I've been to, and I'm gonna get to the slides in a second, but we've had a lot of interviews. We are requiring 30% on our downtown projects in all scopes of work and 25% regionally. When you interview, make sure that your diverse vendors have a seat at the table, that they're incorporated into your team. And equitable, that it's in their sweet spot and it's work that they're going to do, because we are looking at behind the sheets within the presentation. Please, I know most of you guys could probably do this presentation because you heard me, I'm a broken record. Please take a picture. This is our QR code. I need to know who you are and what you do, at what capacity, and what region. We are looking in the next 6 to 7 years of $1 billion in diverse spend. $1 billion in diverse spend in the next 6 to 7 years. I need to know, are you 0 to 50 or 1 million to 2 million? I need to know who you are. Every single team within the state of Indiana has to review my list. I have to sign off on the people that are bidding the project, and I'm in the interview asking all the awesome questions. Again, take a picture. Please send it to anyone that you know that has a diverse business. I am design and construction, but let me tell you, someone took me up on this offer for our outreach September 30th. She has a coffee shop. We just built a coffee hut on site on 16th and Senate. She will be serving pastries and coffees to the construction workers. We're going to have an uptick of about 2,000 employees and workforce, and she's serving coffee. So we are designing construction, but construction people need coffee. We need paper and supplies, so it's not just sticks and bricks. We are looking to provide equitable opportunities for diverse vendors. I have to set this quote because it's not just me, it's not just the design and construction team. It has to start from the top. And Dennis Murphy is quoted, and he tells me all the time, if all we have done is build a hospital, we have failed, okay? So from this, we're able to change the contractual language within all of our contracts to ensure that everyone understands the expectation. For the downtown projects, it's not just 30% diversity, it is 17% people of color working on the project and 5% women. I challenge you as diverse vendors, please bring diversity to the site. I do want to tell you that we have some diverse vendors at Tier 1. They are counted 100%, but they are expected to have 30% diversity. If you're going to be a Tier 1, we need you to have the same expectations and qualifications when bidding our projects. Please take a picture. Again, we are the owner. We hire teams to put in the work. They will be hiring you all. You don't have to contact me. It's right here. If you need the information of the people that are bidding the work, let me know. I will get you in touch with it. I want to mention our design team has a 30% goal. Our construction management teams have a 30% goal. I'm only focused on downtown right now because that's where the interest lies. We're not just a building. We are working with and for the community. All of these teams have to give me one representative that's going to give back to the community. In 7 days, we were able to give away 250 pounds of food, and 300 plus items, and it went to Urban Act Academy. We are more than just a building. We are here to serve the community as well. And these teams put that together within 7 days. Can I get a hand clap? I mean, we're doing something other than construction. Okay. So really quickly, we have our vision and mission statement within IU Health. Within IU Health, we also have DEI commitments. So I'm in design and construction. I'm also in DEI. Shout out to Gerard, wave your hand. He's going to assist me this afternoon. So I'm not going to read it to you, but we have 3 buckets: interpersonal, institutional, and societal. When you hear us talking about DEI commitments, we're going to put one of these bullet points when we're speaking. We're very committed to be intentional about equitable opportunities for diverse vendors. If I have some people inside the office that need assistance, they can't get a hold of me, we have these here, and you can go to IU Health website, go to diversity, and you can see those. And please hold us accountable. Don't tell Dennis I said that, though. So again, I know you guys already know this, but we have 5 projects downtown. This is the map. I won't get all into it, but we have a lot of work. This past Saturday, we just poured 6,000 cubic yards of concrete. It was the largest concrete pour in the state of Indiana. We have women concrete dump truck drivers that are coming to the site. We had 600 trucks starting at 2 a.m. all the way to 5 p.m. Fun fact, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but by the time we get to half of the first floor, we would have poured more concrete than Lucas Oil in its entirety. So again, I think we're upticking at a little over 2 million square feet, and we're at almost $2 billion of work. Really quickly, if you're driving south on 16th and Capitol, if you look to your left, the structural steel that went up is by an African-American company. The concrete that went up is by a Latinx company. What you see, the rebar and the hole for the hospital to your right, is an African-American company. I must say this too, we're not giving work. We talk about equitable, that means you have to compete for the work. We are intentional about our 30%. We're also intentional about competing for the work, okay? So it's not given, because then it wouldn't be equitable. So downtown, this is what it's gonna look like on 16th and Capitol to the right as you go south. You see 3 towers here. They're going to be the same height as the JW Marriott, to put this in perspective. Also, too, it will have 50 elevators. There's opportunities for everyone. We are intentional. We want to make sure that when you leave this project, you have a $2 billion project on your resume, and that you will grow and hire more people. So, Capitol View to the left is a MOB, or medical office building. Right next to it is a parking garage. This is how it's going to look. As you can tell, they're doing glazing right now, which is the windows, and that's by a WBE company as well. Central utility plant, it's going to have all the guts. That's going to operate the hospital, from mechanical, electrical, plumbing. All of that is here. The South Support building, again, it will also support the hospital. It will have all of our AI stuff. I heard that today. We will have robots moving from one place to another. We'll have tunnels. It's going to be state of the art. With all that being said, please contact me. Please contact the general contractors. This is our website. It takes about 6 clicks to get to design and construction, because we are a healthcare system. But please go to our website. We have 2-week look-aheads on the progress. We are also spotlighting the minority contractors that are on the job site, what they're doing, and it also links you to their website so you can learn more, gain a relationship. And lastly, when we do work with our general contractors, there's 3 steps they have to take. One is they have to do community engagement for every bid package. The second thing is they have to have an information session for those subcontractors within the trades they're bidding. Then we give out the bid package, because you have to know what you're building, right? A week later, we have a matchmaking session. So whoever thinks they can be a tier 1, which is contracted with IU Health, they're partnered with tier 2 and below. We are talking about relational. It's not, oh, I need a bid from you because you're diverse. No, we're not doing that. I need you, Shantae, to give me a bid on this scope of work because I know you and I met you at the matchmaking session. You have 3 weeks to talk, gain a relationship, and then bid the project. Again, we are intentional about equitable opportunities at IU Health Design and Construction. Thank you.
Thank you, Akila. Next up, we have the Indianapolis Airport Authority, Chelsea Hunter.
Even are going to have some words about me following up to Akila. All right. So, I did, yeah. I have somebody really special with me today that's going to cover some upcoming opportunities. I will let him introduce himself, but first, I wanted to cover a few things. So, my name is Chelsea Hunter. I'm the Supplier Diversity Program Manager for the IAA. How many of you knew me when I was at Indigo? All right. I'm not there anymore. Don't come looking for me there. I am with the airport, okay? To the left side of your screen, you will see the Supplier Diversity team as it is. I know several of you in this room know Holly Harrington. She is my mentor. She has several years of experience, and jokingly enough, I tell her that her mind is a scary place on a daily basis because it is. She can recall things from ridiculous amounts of time. We'll be having a conversation, and she'll say, this is a little bit dramatic on my end, but just to paint a picture, she'll say, you know, on December 6th in 2007, I had this discussion with somebody about the same thing, and I'm like, what? Like, I don't even remember the pajamas I wore to bed last night, okay? On the right side of your screen is our senior leadership team. Just wanted to put it out there. They are very visible and engaged with everything that we do. And we have a lot of support from the top down, so wanted to make sure that they were recognized here today. The centerpiece recognizes our 5 strategic pillars, which we'll cover a little bit more in depth today, as well as some upcoming projects. But for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and move forward. So economic impact to us, what does that mean? It means something different to everybody. It affects everybody differently. To us, that means dollars spent with diverse firms, the percentage of spend that we have with diverse firms, and then the number of businesses that we're impacting. So we could have a really high number, but we're only using one business. So what kind of impact does that actually make for someone? What kind of impact does that make for the airport? So we want to see as many firms as we can come in and work for the airport. I know it's a process to get in the door, but you have a ton of support within the actual terminal and on the buildings on the outside as well. There are people here to help you, so do not let the name of working for the airport scare you or intimidate you at all. And here's where I'm going to turn it over to Kevin.
Good afternoon. Is that the best you can do? First let me introduce myself. My name is Kevin Forbes. I am the Director of Landside Development for the Indianapolis Airport Authority. And for those of you that may not know, airports are broken up into 2 major functions: airside, landside. Airside is typically the runways, taxiways, aprons, tug roads, everything that basically is touched by an airplane. Landside is everything else. So I'm the Director of Landside Development for the Indianapolis Airport Authority, and I want to take just 1 second to point out a very important person to our organization. I can tell you that we were most fortunate in getting the services of Chelsea Hunter. Thank you. I feel the exact same way. Chelsea talks about having a mentor. Chelsea is a mentor. Chelsea is that link between those. So some of us eat, drink, sleep, breathe, live, die diversity. I live diversity because of the kinds of creativity that I think many people don't realize. We're not looking to fill numbers. We're looking for creative solutions to problems. But for those that don't live diversity, Chelsea provides that critical link to others to make sure that as they are developing projects, they are always keeping diversity in mind. There are several pillars at the Airport Authority. The 3 that always come to mind for me is customer service, sustainability, and diversity. And it is Chelsea that provides that link for our organization that always keeps us looking for ways to be more diverse, more equitable, more inclusionary, and meaningful. So, having said that, to this slide right here, I'm going to give you kind of a large overview. I don't want to talk necessarily about individual projects. I want to talk more about the program at the IAA. Just recently, within the last month, we completed an exercise. This is not an official budget, but it's an exercise over the next 10 years. What do we think the airport could spend in that period? We came up with $2.6 billion over the next 10 years at the Indianapolis International Airport and its reliever airports. Put that in perspective, that's 2,600 $1 million projects over the next 10 years. That's 260 $1 million projects every year. What that translates to is that list. It's a very specific list. 300 projects ranging from $600 million to $100,000. We're here to talk about opportunities. We're here to talk about opportunities for everybody, not just the large contractors, but the small, more family-oriented contractors, contractors and consultants who are just getting started, or contractors and consultants who are just getting started doing airport work. As Chelsea mentioned, sometimes people are very intimidated about working at the airport. Now, granted, I will tell you, working at the airport is not easy. It's not easy simply because of that it is an airport. The security requirements are unfathomable at an airport, which just makes doing any project there more difficult. But one of our jobs is to ensure that we always have a talent pool. So we will assist, we will train, we will help, and we will partner with any consultant or contractor so that we can build that talent pool, because we need this community to keep this airport being award-winning. We can't do it without this community. We can't do it without the community's talent. So that's really one of our primary objectives, is to develop talent from this community. The projects that we have are as diverse as this community. For example, at IND alone, there are 240 projects totaling $2.58 billion. At the reliever airports, 60 projects at $153 million. I point this out because it is the projects at the relievers that are a great stepping stone for people that have not worked at an airport before. The reliever projects, they have fewer security requirements, fewer security restrictions, and so it's a great place to develop the tools that a consultant or a contractor needs to do airport work. 60 projects over the next 10 years at $153 million. Environment and sustainability, $500 million over the next 10 years. There are multiple airside projects. We talked about airside being the runways, taxiways, aprons. So there is probably $1 billion worth of landside projects. There is the complete reconstruction of the north parallel runway. That's about a $370 million project. There is now there's a potential project in the next 10 years of the construction of a third major parallel runway on the south side of I-70. That's about a $670 million project. That's a runway, that's a control tower, that's a bridge across I-70. It is a massive project. Again, all of those projects get broken down into smaller projects, and there's where we create diverse opportunities for contractors and consultants, large and small. Landside projects. Garage expansions, and yes, that's a plural. There was an S there. We are working on a garage expansion right now. It is under construction. There is a planned second addition on our existing parking garage to the south. There is a potential hotel at stake on the west side of the parking garage. Hangars. There's road and parking lot infrastructure all across the airport campus. Building renovations. We are continually renovating refurbishing and freshening up what is the finest airport in the country, and it takes a lot of work and a lot of passion to keep it that way. Their baggage systems, elevators, escalators, information technology, safety and security. Again, it's an airport. We have dozens and dozens of systems for safety and security, most of which you do not see, and that's intentional. And keep in mind, this is for architects, engineers, other consultants, civil engineers, structural engineers, MEP engineers, environmental engineers, planners, interior designers. All of those services will be required to support a $2.6 billion capital program over the next 10 years. And that's not to mention, it's not just sticks and bricks at the airport either. It's vehicles and equipment. Some of the fire trucks alone, some of the fire apparatus alone are $1 million. There are buses, there are EV equipment, charging systems that we're going to be putting in on a continual basis, probably until society goes completely with EV. And then this does not include the operating projects. We have multi-million-dollar budgets for operating projects. Those, again, require the talents and the services and the support of the community to keep those projects alive and well. So the bottom line is, you can take a look up here, or you can just simply know that every year, every month, we are spitting out bids to the public, to everybody who is interested in wanting to do work and help support our airport. How do you get to us? It's really simple. Every social media platform and planetbids.com. That is the mechanism by which we advertise all of our opportunities. And so if you are not registered, I urge you to register. You can set settings that will allow automatic notification, email notifications of projects that do come available to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. And one final thing, I would be remiss if I didn't point out another person from the airport that we have as support today. Kim, can you raise your hand in the back, please? Kim is a part of our procurement team, and we will both be here today supporting a booth in the NAL meeting room. So come in and talk to us. I also was the polar bear mascot for the airport recently, so if you'd like my autograph, stop by. Otherwise, we have information about projects, and thank you, Kevin, again, for all your support.
Next up, but certainly not least, is the Indianapolis Public Library representative who are hosting us today in this fine facility, Ms. Gwendolyn Simmons.
Thank you, Ava. I guess it's afternoon now, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gwen Simmons, and I am the Manager of Purchasing and Supplier Diversity for the Indianapolis Public Library. And I am happy to be here with you today to share some of our upcoming opportunities. So let's see. I promise I'll be brief because I know we've gone over into our lunch hours. So we've kind of separated these just by the quarter. So for the first quarter, we're looking at upgrading our door counter system, which would just be an installation-only project. We'll purchase all the components and just look for an installer for that. And for our Nora and College, well, I'm sorry, let me go back and say, the values you see are just our estimated value of the projects. So that's about $50,000. And then for Nora and College, we're looking to replace our roofing systems over there. For Nora, we're anticipating $190,000, and then College, $100,000. And then we will have a professional services contract to review and update the continuity of our operations plan. We're anticipating $75,000 for that. And then for Irvington, we're going to do some upgrades there for the lighting upgrade at $50,000, and then the window replacement there at $125,000. And then for our branch here at Central, we haven't had our cafe in operation for a while, but we're looking at that again. So we are anticipating early 2023, having some movement on that. Right now we're in internal talks and doing some vetting, so that will come about in early 2023. Then for quarters 2 and 3, we're going to have the electrical services RFP that's going to go out. And I'm not sure if you all know, but we are currently in construction of 2 branches. We have our Glendale branch being constructed as well as our Fort Bend branch. They're anticipated to complete construction probably early summer and open up in the early fall. Once we near that completion, we'll be looking at our Nora branch and our Pike branch for renovations. Construction for Nora will be about $1.2 million, and then our fixtures, furniture, and equipment for both will be about $500,000 each. And then the Pike construction is $1.1 million. Then we're also going to do a general maintenance RFP, as well as our learning curve renovation. The construction for that will be $1.3 million, and then our FFE about $600,000. So if you're ever interested in knowing what we offer as far as opportunities, you can go to our vendors opportunities page. You can reach that by going to our web page. Our website is ndpl.org, and navigate to the vendors opportunities. There you can register as a vendor, and then also further down on this page, you can see our opportunities, and then if we have any current RFPs out, you'll have links to those where you can access those as well. So that is it for me. So we will have a table at the networking event, so if you have any questions on any of the projects that I listed, or if you know that your company has any services that might benefit the library, please feel free to stop by our table, and we'll be happy to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and with that, just hang with me a few more minutes. We're going to close things out in here. Just a few housekeeping items. Lunch is already set out in the reception area, so we have some options. Some folks did request special meals. We've accommodated those requests, so be sure to make sure you read and so you can get the right choice. You can eat anywhere in the library. I would encourage if it was a beautiful sunny day, but if you like an overcast day, go to the upper levels and you can see north. Great views. There is seating outside of the cafe. The only area that we are restricted from is the children's resource area, so do not sit in that area. So any place else, and you can even come back in here and eat as well. So I'm going to turn things over to Director Frederick so he can close things out, and then we can have our lunch, and then at 1 o'clock, the resource rooms with our presenters today will be open. Thank you.
All right.